here's an issue that we talk about a lot on this show, the issue of net neutrality. This is from Joe. Joe, thank you for sharing this. And Joe Biden, by the way, not Joe, my editor, Joe Biden, getting back to Biden. Joe Biden is one of the Democrats who is not even sure about net neutrality. Joe Biden, not for net neutrality. He's against net neutrality. Joe Biden gets a lot of money from Comcast and AT&T. But here's some news. You know, when Ajit Pai, under the Trump FCC, gutted net neutrality, he got rid of net neutrality protections. We're still living in a post-net neutrality world. We're fighting on the front lines, which is why you haven't seen a ton of the results of a post-net neutrality world yet, although they're pushing the bar. Ajit Pai promised that we get faster internet speeds because Ajit Pai said, look, if you lift these net neutrality protections, the internet will be faster because they're not lobbed down by these unnecessary rules. By the way, what is net neutrality? If you're not familiar with this show, net neutrality is just the policy that designates the internet as a utility, and it needs to flow like running water or like a telephone call, meaning that traffic can't be prioritized for certain websites. Certain content providers can't be prioritized over others as far as how fast their website loads. Everything needs to load at the same time, at the same speed, with the same priority, and you can't price gouge consumers via fast lanes or slow lanes. They have to get the service that they sign up for. That's all net neutrality is. That's what net neutrality does. Designates the internet a utility like the phone lines. That's it. So how would that affect speeds one way or another? It wouldn't. It just preserves the internet as we know it, as a free and open platform to share and post content. But did we get that faster broadband? Even though there's really no connection here, let's check it out. Ajit Pai promised faster broadband expansion. Comcast cut spending instead. Interesting. Despite net neutrality repeal, Comcast spent less on expanding the cable network. Comcast has reduced capital spending on its cable division in 2019, devoting less money to network extensions, and improvements, despite a series of government favors that were supposed to accelerate broadband expansions. For the 12 months ended December 31st, 2019, cable capital expenditures decreased 10.5% to $6.9 billion, down from $7.7 billion in 2018. Comcast, the nation's largest home internet provider, said in its earnings announcements last week, cable capital expenditures represented 11.9% of cable revenue compared to 13.8% in 2018. In other words, we're not making as much money investing in cable, so we're going to do less of it. So that whole claim that this is going to give you faster internet, that was a total myth. Everything Ajit Pai said about repealing net neutrality ended up being a complete and utter lie. He said it would expand jobs. AT&T cut a bunch of jobs. Comcast just uses a bunch of third-party contract servicers, and they're expanding less. He said it would expand cable. It has decreased it. There's less investment in cable. Why? Because when you have an organized duopoly, and now you have a further deregulated organized duopoly because net neutrality is gone, and these internet service providers know they're going to be able to get away with a lot in the future if that stands and we don't get net neutrality back. They're not going to expand because they only expand if they see the profit motive in their favor. So if they don't want to go to a certain place because they're worried they're not going to make enough money, they're not going to do that, especially with the loss of net neutrality. Slowly but surely, they're going to be able to unroll post-net neutrality packages that are going to price gouge you, the consumer, further. What would a post-net neutrality package look like? Well, it might be extra money to access certain websites. Do you want to get to Twitter and Facebook? Well, you need to buy the social media plus package. Otherwise, you can't go to those websites. Do you want to get the exclusive media package where CNN loads faster and Fox News loads faster? Well, that's going to cost more money. Furthermore, these different content providers will be able to pay to have their stuff load faster, which means corporate outlets are going to have a stranglehold on the market of internet commerce. And it's going to make the internet as we know it look like cable television 2.0 instead. Shows like this will become a thing of the past. And all the shows from independent media and content creators you know and love, they'll all become a thing of the past. That's what a post-net neutrality world can look like. And I know you're thinking, Ron, I don't think that could ever happen. Look, Nobody ever thought what happened to radio in 1996 could happen. No one ever thought, dude, we have a bunch of local stations with local personalities. People rely on that stuff. It happened anyway. And it happened in 1996, long before the internet was what it was today. So you can't just say, well, the internet took over. Like no, yeah, that slowly happened, and it would probably have happened anyway. But in 1996, the internet was not some total be-all and end-all replacement for local media. Radio still had its place, but it was homogenized and gutted anyway because the corporatocracy allowed it. Thanks, Bill Clinton. So it happened to radio, it happened to television, it can happen to the internet too. And once you lose a medium, you don't get it back. So here you go. Another lie about the repeal of net neutrality. The repeal of net neutrality has yielded no benefits whatsoever other than padding the pockets of big cable CEOs at the behest of screwing you, the consumer, over. Ajit Pai, thank you for sharing that, Joe. Much appreciated.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and